Balake.
Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. And guys, here on the Growing Up in Scientology YouTube channel, all Tom Cruise is good. All Tom Cruise news is good news, because every day is also a great day to remind everyone that the world's most recognizable movie star is the poster child for the multi-billion-dollar international human trafficking cult known as Scientology. So what is the Tom Cruise news these days? It's about his alleged so-called new girlfriend. I hate to rain on this parade, guys. But not only, so the name of this video is Tom Cruise's new girlfriend a Scientologist? But it could just as well be called, is Tom Cruise's new girlfriend really his new girlfriend? Because I'm going to explain to you why, in my opinion, on both counts, the answer is no. And guys, if that's all you tuned in for, then please, before you leave, check out the new clips channel, Growing Up in Scientology Clips. But if you actually want to hear my thoughts on why Tom Cruise's new girlfriend is not the Scientologist and is also not his new girlfriend, then let's just jump right into it. Tom Cruise, 62 years old, sparks romance rumors with Chris Martin's singing protege, who is 25 years old. So, okay, that's Bruce Springsteen in the middle. That's little Tommy Cruise on the right, and his new so-called alleged girlfriend on the left. Let's see what they have to say here. The Mission Impossible actor has sparked romance rumors with Spanish singer Victoria Canal, whom he met at Glastonbury Festival in England earlier this year. Canal joined Coldplay on stage for their electric headlining set in June, as Cruise was spotted watching from the VIP area. Okay, guys, we have our first breaking news alert that I'm going to mention as far as it relates to the likelihood of Victoria Canal being a Scientologist and the likelihood of her being Tom Cruise's girlfriend. As you can see from this photo here, she has one arm, or I should say she's missing one arm. That actually is relevant in Scientology. We're going to get to that momentarily. According to sources, the pair first met at the music festival before their friendship turned romantic in recent weeks. Cruise apparently shocked those around him after inviting Canal onto the set of Mission Impossible 8 in Oxfordshire, something he rarely ever does, according to crew members who said the move was bizarre. Tom invited Victoria to watch him film for the whole day, and that is just not something he does for his random friends. It might have seemed unlikely that they would become anything more than friends, but they are pretty much inseparable, the insider added, referencing their 35-year age gap. Okay, we got a photo here. Where's the hands? Where's the hands? Okay, hands spotted. Victoria has been marked safe from Tom Cruise's hands. They've been seeing a lot of one another, and Victoria is beautiful. It's all been happening in plain sight. Page 6 has reached out to Cruise reps for comment. Okay, let's see. Oh, they went to the premiere of Twisters together. Really? Okay. They were spotted walking through the city together. Okay. Let's see. There was another quote here that I'm looking for. Hold on now. There's one very specific line that I'm looking for. Let me see. It might be in the other article. Okay. Oh, that is a big old bummer. Bear with me, folks. Please bear with me. Uh-oh. What's happening? This is so embarrassing. Okay, I remember what the thing said that I was going to share with you, so I'll just say that anyway. So she has a disability, which is she's missing half of her arm, and she identifies as bisexual. Well, if she admits to being attracted to two genders and she's missing one arm, oh, YouTube's just messing with me today. That is 3 reasons why she'd be very unlikely to join Scientology, and 3 reasons why she is almost certainly not Tom Cruise's girlfriend. Okay, what is the problem here? In Scientology, The process of Scientology auditing involves an e-meter. The e-meter has 2 cans, 2 electrodes that you have to hold in order to do Scientology auditing. If you do not have 2 hands, 2 properly functioning hands that can comfortably hold one of those cans, you cannot get Scientology auditing at anything higher than the most introductory levels. Now, when you get trained on the e-meter, they do explain that for those people who may need them, there are wrist straps that you can strap something around your wrist to hold the cans or to be able to be connected up to the e-meter. In the 30 years I spent in Scientology, I saw this happen once. I only saw one person in Scientology who had a disability that required them to use wrist straps, and that person was not at the upper levels of the bridge. I have even heard in one reference, L. Ron Hubbard mentioned foot plates. It would never work for auditing. Also, when you get to a certain level of Scientology auditing and you start doing auditing sessions on yourself, there is a level where you hold both electrodes in one hand. So this is all of the upper OT levels of Scientology, all of the confidential upper levels of Scientology that require you. Well, OT3 is the first major solo level. I do think OT2 you do on yourself as well, and I can't remember what OT1 is, to be perfectly honest. But when you hold both electrodes in one hand with a divider, you're doing that so that you can write with your other hand. On the upper levels, you cannot do an auditing session that requires you to write. Let's say what is her name? What is her name again? I don't want to get it wrong here. Victoria. Let's say Victoria chose to join Scientology just to keep Tom happy. Say they're actually boyfriend, girlfriend. There's only so far up the bridge that she could go. Because even if you say, well, she could put the wrist straps on the one arm and write with that arm, or you can't write with the same hand or arm. The cans have to be held still in order for the needle on the meter to even be readable. And you also have a problem with Scientology very much looks down on people with physical disabilities or any mental disabilities, but even physical disabilities. It is considered in Scientology. This is, in the past when I've done videos about this, it's hard to even talk about this without getting emotional, but I think I can keep it together right now. The Scientology belief, the principle that you are an all-powerful, immortal spiritual being, and that we are trapped on this planet and we are trapped in these bodies. But spiritually, natively, we are all innately godlike. I mean, creators of planets. I mean, creators of the universe, creators of existence. It is believed in Scientology that anything that happens to you is spiritually, on some level, your fault, your responsibility. That even includes being born this lifetime with a physical disability. It is considered that as a spiritual being, you did that to yourself to restrain your ability in this lifetime to do destructive, harmful acts. That all beings are basically good and they're capable of doing evil. But when they do evil, they then later try to restrain themselves from being able to do further evil by handicapping themselves and minimizing their ability to do harm, even if that means all subconsciously, by the way. So someone who's born disabled in Scientology auditing would eventually be forced to confront, this is part of the process, it's horribly abusive, what they did in their past life or lives that was so horrible that they had to restrain themselves from doing further evil in this lifetime by handicapping themselves. It is so disgusting and it is so gross. Now, It's not that handicapped people aren't allowed to join Scientology. They are. It's just that someone like Tom Cruise, who sees himself as being one of the two biggest beings in this sector of the Galactic Federation, David Miscavige and Tom being 1 and 2. I mean, I guess Dave and Tom probably believe that L. Ron Hubbard is still kicking around somewhere on Target 2, on another planet, getting Scientology started. So maybe Tom considers himself the third biggest being in the Galactic Federation. Tom Cruise would never be in a relationship with someone who had a physical disability because he believes in Scientology completely. And it would actually, believe it or not, it is so gross. It would be bad PR in Scientology for Tom Cruise, their #1 poster boy, to be in a relationship with a degraded being who was probably an SP in her past life. When I was in the Sea Org working on L. Ron Hubbard Way, there was an auditor. Well, actually, at this point, he was so old, he was not allowed to audit anymore. But he was working on the back lines, doing what they called folder error summaries. His name was James Fuller. He had worked personally with L. Ron Hubbard for a very long time on the original ship, the Apollo. He had held his position, and his role next to L. Ron Hubbard was such that James Fuller himself, his name was on the bottom of some of the technical bulletins that had been issued back in those days. Miscavige had all those bulletins canceled and everything. James Fuller was a Sea Org member who was one of the very first Sea Org members and had worked with L. Ron Hubbard from those very earliest days. So the things that he said and the things that he believed were very much a reflection of core Scientology beliefs, even if some of those beliefs have been somewhat tempered in modern days. For example, an example of the tempering. I've been told by many people still in the cult right now that you are allowed to join staff at a lower level class 5 Scientology organization if you are gay. That was never true in the past. You can't join the Sea Org if you're gay. You can join staff. So that's an example of the tempering that I'm talking about. James Fuller, when I was working in one of the orgs there, he was actually, even though he wasn't a posted auditor, he was actually assigned to audit this one person. And this person was handicapped. And James Fuller was not having fun auditing this guy. And he lost his temper one day and he said, "Why should I spend my time auditing this SP?" And he was asked, what do you mean he's an SP? Well, obviously he was an SP in his past life. Look at his disability. That's a reflection of core Scientology belief. And so, you know, if it was any other Scientologist, I'd say, sure, it's possible that they're an item. I feel like Tom Cruise is doing something weird here. Maybe trying to create the impression, trying to plant some seeds, plant some stories in the press that makes it seem like he's a real tolerant, equal opportunity kind of guy. Hooking up with a girl who I guess has publicly said she's bisexual and she has an obvious physical handicap. I think Tom Cruise's press people try to play games like this. So I'm here to say that's my pitch for why I know she's not a Scientologist. There's no evidence of her being in Scientology, but that's why I don't believe she would even try to get in. And I don't believe Tom would even try to get her in. And I don't believe Tom would have a relationship with her because David Miscavige would be horrified, absolutely horrified that his best bud, little Tommy Cruise, was going out with a girl who was openly bisexual, which in Scientology standards is perversion. That's perversion. That's 1.1 on the tone scale, covert hostility. L. Ron Hubbard said that people at 1.1 on the tone scale are the source of all of society's ills, along with psychiatrists, and that people who are at 1.1 on the tone scale, if they would all just be quietly disposed of without sorrow, the state of planet Earth would improve. And if it were, and the only reason that's not a viable solution is because the current laws of this humanoid planet prevent such a thing. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard practically endorsed the final solution in his book, Science of Survival, when talking about what to do about people at 1.1 on the tone scale. And he said, all people who are anything but straight are 1.1 on the tone scale. Pretty crazy. So let's see. I think that is all. Yeah, that's all I have to say on this for now. Let's see. We got some starred comments here. Uh-oh. That's a little spicy. I don't know if I want to bring that up. That's a little spicy, Capricious Caroline. I'm gonna skip that one. Jill Davidson, thank you very much. SPTV Atlanta. So arthritis can disqualify someone from auditing too. Absolutely. If your hands get to a state where you cannot hold that can comfortably, you just cannot get auditing. Joshua Cox says, I'm sure that Tom's tiny friend would make an exception for his best friend. He wouldn't want to. He would talk Tom out of it. Yeah, that's a no-go zone. Kylie says, wait, so the entirety of Scientology just straight up isn't accessible to people who don't have two working hands? I mean, that's correct. I mean, the exception would be what I said about the wrist straps, but the wrist straps might work for lower level auditing, but they don't work for solo auditing. And so, you know, you're just no solutions for that. Scientology would say, hey, look, we're here to make the able more able. We're not here to make the disabled abled. I'm serious. I'm serious. The catchphrase of Scientology, we're here to make the able more able. Well, the disabled don't get to square one. So they don't care. They're like, there's plenty of people on the planet that we can worry about. We don't have to worry about the ones that we can't worry about. They don't care. It means nothing to them. Nero James, billion-year SP. Can't upper-level Scientologists regrow body parts like a starfish? I wish. That'd be amazing. If they could prove that the upper levels allowed you to regrow body parts, I'd rejoin. The witchy woman, Nan, and that is the point. Scientology will not accept people that are less than. Absolutely. Unstoppable SP. Aaron, you met Marta Coelho. She was the one who audited me, and the person who recruited me is Claudia Medina. I know Marta Coelho. We worked together at Measurable Solutions, which was the first job I had after I left the Sea Org. It's one of those Scientology business consulting front groups. I absolutely know Marta Coelho. I do not, however, know Claudia Medina. Just a Northern Girl. Question: is Tom Cruise's PR team also Scientologist? Would he even be allowed to have a non-Scientology PR team? I believe his PR team is still his sister. His sister is the one who took over from, oh my God, I'm going to go blank on who's super, Pat Kingsley. Pat Kingsley was the famous PR person who handled all Tom Cruise's PR forever. She was the one that was responsible for Tom basically keeping his mouth shut on the subject of Scientology for all those years. And when his sister took over, I think Leanne is the sister that took over handling his PR. You've got Cass, you've got Marion, and you've got Leanne. Cass is the real estate agent. Marion, I don't know what she does. And Leanne DeVette, she used to be married to Derek DeVette, but now I think she's married to Greg Capizorio. I hope, or did Cass marry Greg Capizorio? I can't keep them straight. Either way, I think Leanne was the one who took over handling all of his PR, and I think she is still doing it, but don't quote me on that. You guys can fact check me on that. At this point, I don't believe he would have a non-Scientologist PR team, but you never know, guys. I mean, there's no, it's not like it would be against the rules for him to go now re-engage with a top tier, PR firm. It's not like it would be against the rules. He could do it. He should do it. So if the question is, would he be allowed to? Yeah, he would be allowed to. Okay. And Culty Talk says, so you can't just hold one can? No, you can't. One can. The current has to go through your whole body, out of the e-meter, through your whole body, and back into the e-meter. If you just hold one can, you don't even, the needle doesn't even register. It just, yeah, it doesn't even read anything. Like the meter just doesn't even operate unless you're holding both cans. All right, guys, that's all on this for now. Stay tuned. I got another video I'm going to squeeze in tonight. Hit that like button, you guys. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.